All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:03. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Stacy, would you please do the roll call?
Roberta Garlock. Here. Arthur Gilbert. Here. Bridget Hosky's absent. Stephen Idarola is absent. Tony Mancini.
Here.
Gail Tagliatella.
Here.
Leilani Perry.
Here.
And Chairman Arthur Gilbert. Arthur Kelly, I'm sorry.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry.
Okay, if you could take a minute to look at the packets and look at the April 23rd meeting minutes. And it's just the one page. I'll entertain a motion when ready. We have a motion by Member Gilbert,
Second.
second by Leilani Perry, to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. You could look at the April 30th minutes. Entertain a motion when ready.
So moved.
You have a first by Member Gilbert,
Second.
second by Tony Mancini. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to item number 5. Discussion and action on suggestions and recommendations from City Council, Mayor, Department Heads, and public regarding charter revision. Steve, do you want to start?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm waiting for the Corporation Council has the documents, but the first item we're going to discuss is what will be called action item number 1, and that is basically section 8 of chapter 1, which is the new definition section. And I'll tell you briefly, there's a couple little changes that you'll see when you get the document from the Corp Council. One is a typo in definition Q, which is multi-year contracts, left the word buy out of it, and the word adopted shouldn't be capitalized, so that'll be fixed as well. And the other thing that I'm going to do in here, because several people have raised the question, I know that Councilmember Quagliani is aware of this issue. This defines a multi-year contract as anything more than 1 year, or any contract that has an option agreement or an extension agreement or something that would permit it to go beyond 1 year without coming before the council. We're also aware that there is an ordinance in town already that allows for the mayor to sign contracts up to 3 years. And so I'm going to place in the definition a reference to that ordinance to make sure that this definition, because the definition permits the council, which has the authority under law, to delegate their authority. In this town, this city already, it has been delegated. And so I'm going to have a footnote that I will add when you see it in the republished version of the charter that says this does not in any way, shape, or form inhibit or restrict the current provision of law. We'll cite the actual reference, the actual ordinance, so that there can be no doubt, if anybody ever wants to raise doubt, that power does already exist. Also, in definition U, we talk about elected and appointed officials in the city. We're going to make it clear that includes the Board of Education. And so there he is. I was just going through the definitions, Mr. Corporation Counsel. And if we can hand out those definitions, I'll answer any questions you may have. And this would be really optimal if we can approve the definitions so I can get the charter cleaned up with the definitions internalized in the document. So,
Okay.
And this will be called action item number 1. What you're going to see on the action item is this should help you. There's references to the recommendation numbers. So action item number 1 actually has aspects that address recommendation number 8, which is the special election provisions, number 11, which is contract approval, 18, which has to deal with definitions, actually. It's the definition section. And 19, which is defining the Board of Education as a city department, which we very clearly do in the definition of department. So.
This is it.
5. 6 in. Lonnie, you got one? You do.
Ends with X. Thank you.
So we'll review what he's handing out and take some action on it.
Yeah, if you can, and both of us will be here to answer any questions that you have.
The size, because of the comments on the side. I'm just gonna give you everything.
Thank you.
Some of those we're going to take up, some of them we're going to just discuss.
Right, okay.
You got a copy?
Just for everyone to note, from here on in, we'll be working off of Kevin and Attorney Mednick's list of what's approved and what's open. And
So next week we're meeting the 12th and the 14th, both days?
yes, that's what we have scheduled.
And the 14th is the day we're going to vote this out.
Yes. And we'll decide after Thursday's meeting whether we need Tuesday's meeting or not. 6 o'clock for the balance of the meetings.
Oh, boy. Are these not in order? Or?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yours right there should be 4.
Yeah. Where's the definition?
You have the definitions?
I do not. I mean, I have mine, my markup, it's, yeah, yeah. And I don't have 3 either.
I'll get you 3, table 7.
I started 4, so I need 1 and 3. Okay, thank you.
There, so
Oh, all right, he just gave me 1. All right, I'm all set.
Does everybody have a 1 and a 3? Action item 1 and action item
Yes.
3?
I do.
And here's
Now,
3.
everybody has 1, but some other people are gonna get replacement 3s after just conferring with Attorney Medina.
All right, so we can get rid of the 3 we have.
If I come around and give you a replacement, then yes.
My-
While he's going through definitions, I'll replace the 3 as needed.
My 3 only has 1
Yeah.
page.
After we get the other one.
1, 2, 3. That seems awfully short.
Is there an action item 2? Because I don't
Yeah,
have.
there's missing pages.
There's not, okay.
Let me set the stage for you so you know what you're looking for.
Let me look at
There's
this
1.
Here's 1,
We're skipping 2 for now. You'll see a 3,
2,
a 4,
3, 4.
5.
Yeah, this is it. This is the one that is complete.
That's
5.
six.
5 pages for
Want me
1.
to run it through the copy and make sure it's in
Yeah.
We may discuss 7 but not take it up, and then it skips to 2 others.
We're starting with 1.
Definitions. 9 and 10 are the remainders. There are many pages for definitions. There are many pages.
5
for
pages.
definitions. That's not just a 1 page.
What I don't have is,
What do you miss?
I just have the 1 page for,
That's all I see. That's all I have. Many of those 1 pages.
PS 3. Oh, you got it down to 1?
Yeah.
All right, fine.
I stripped lots of it out.
Very, did you take this out?
Annual report. At the end of each fiscal year, they have to.
That's here. Yeah. But I thought you cut out this one.
Yeah.
Very good. Then I have it. We didn't do that.
No?
We were going to do that, but you didn't put it in.
No, I haven't.
Well, we'll just tell him it has to go in,
Okay.
and we'll just do it.
Let me help. Oh. There should be 5 pages. This is action item number 4. This is gonna be next up. How many pages do we have for our definitions?
5.
That's how many we should have.
No 2.
Art's missing every other page. I'm gonna take all yours and I'm gonna bring Art's and I'm gonna bring you back everything you need, okay? All right? Everybody 5 definition pages? Yes. You'll get the rest in a moment.
Okay.
How you doing? I'm on your way.
I don't, not yet.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Does everybody have action number 3? Is it 1 page? Action item 3 is 1 page.
It's just one page.
Everybody got? They said it's gonna be replaced with something. That's what I was doing in the other room, Ron.
Okay, you're always at one step ahead of me.
Whoa.
And I could use the steps, so what else you need? How about action number 4?
We'll get to that next. Yeah, we did. I went through them. You want to start? I talked them through, but they didn't have them in front of them. So if they have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer the questions. Let me tell you a couple changes. I think I already alluded to this. There will be a change in Q where adding the word by after delegated and having a lowercase a in adopted. And I think that was it. Oh, and we're going to add the comment in multi-year contracts to a reference to the ordinance to make sure that it doesn't raise any ambiguity about the effectiveness of the current ordinance. It's a 3-year ordinance. Move adoption of action item number 1, definitions in chapter 1 of the charter. Something like that.
So, Steve, could I just ask a question? So, the definition speaks to what's it, pro temp?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just not a term that we've ever used. I just don't know where the.
It's a common. What section are you in? Where are you seeing pro temp in the definitions?
Is it? I don't know. Is that still the definitions?
It's later in the. We discuss it when we get to the council.
All right, so it's past it. I'll
Yeah.
wait. I'll wait.
Let me just explain. President pro tempore, the U.S. Senate has them. The state Senate, state legislature, New Haven's Board of Alders. I was president pro tempore of the New Haven Board of Alders for many, many years. It just means temporary. It means that you are the president if the president is not there. You could call it the vice chair if you'd like. That's another alternative as opposed to tempore. But it's a pretty common term. So if you want me to define it, I'm happy to do that. But I think it's defined when you see how it's used in the council section when we define what the president pro tempore does. And we could call it pro tem, we can call it pro tempore, whatever. I just want to make sure we use it consistently in the document. So that's what it means.
And this is on one of the pages of action item 1?
It's not.
It's not?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's in action item number 4.
Oh, okay.
I move that we accept the changes made to the definitions as in, I don't know what else to say.
Do I hear a second? Second by Member Gilbert. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Terrific. Mr. Chair, let me just make a note here, 5/5/26. We were going to, I had an action item number 2, but we're holding it till Thursday. Action item number 2, I'll explain why we're holding it, deals with the elections and officers. The chair and I were talking prior to the meeting regarding the new formatting of the document, and this section reflects a lot of the formatting where we put all the offices in one place, their terms of office in one place, et cetera. But I noticed as I was going through this document that the section dealing with the at-large council members was missing. So I don't want you to approve something that is in the current charter that should be in the charter. So we will have that for you on Thursday.
Okay.
The other issue here, and I raised it in the draft document, talked today to the Corporation Council, talked to the mayor. On the succession of office issue, one of the things I thought about was it's one thing if we only had a 2-year term, but we've now approved a 4-year term for mayor. And so the question that you have to think about, and the council has to think about, is do we want to have automatic succession? For example, the mayor gets elected. In the first year of office, the mayor leaves, dies, runs for Congress, gets elected, is gone. There's 3 years left in that term. And so one of the things you have to decide is, do we simply have the successor serve the remaining 3 years of a term, or do we have them serve for the remaining year of the half term and then have, in the natural cycle, not have a special election? It's effectively a special election, but the special election would occur in a natural cycle in the next November election. So it would be in the second year of the term, it would be the person would end up serving the first half of the mayor's term. If they get reelected, they remain in office and serve the second half, but the acting mayor would only serve for the remainder of the first half of the term. And so if you want to do succession with no special election or no election, that's fine. But when we had this discussion earlier today, I was persuaded that it made some sense to think about breaking it up so that people could always have an elected mayor.
Well, one of my concerns would be the council makeup as it is now, where, Chairman Vargo has a full-time job, and, it may be hard to find somebody to succeed the mayor.
No, that's right. And Middletown I'm sorry.
No, just being elected, the person is also elected as a councilman to begin with. So they're saying that he has to get elected again to serve the remainder of the term. I think he's already elected, so that would stand by itself, I think.
No, you can have a succession. You could have a clean succession where the council chair succeeds for the remainder of the term no matter when the vacancy occurred, whether it's the first year, second year, third year, or fourth year. The question you have to decide with the 4-year term, the point the chair was making is that does everybody who serves on the council and serves as chair actually want to be mayor? They should kind of know that you're in the line of succession. When you run for the chairmanship, you're in the line of succession. But if you allow it for a temporary basis, then that person still has a decision to make. Because if you have, for example, Gina Sarin in Middletown became the mayor in June of the second year of the term when the mayor resigned. And then he had to run for the remainder of the term in that November election. Now, he could have said, I want to stay on the council. I want to go back to be council president, and just served as acting mayor for the next 3 or 4 or 6 months and somehow make that work. In his case, he was a retired guy, so it didn't make a big difference to you. It's different than the chair of our current council, the current council chair, who's in a job, probably wants to have a future in his job. And then he got elected. He's serving the remainder of the 4-year term. So I'll, in the proposal, give you a couple of alternatives where you could just have the straight succession, but you can also take a look at the split. Now, I also had in here a situation where the current chair, if he does not want to be mayor, he can resign the chair, and the vice chair then takes over, and the vice chair becomes the mayor. But the point of fact is, if you run for these positions in a succession charter, you have to know that you could be the mayor.
In council, in that example, does that person then still stay in their seat as the chair of the council?
If it's a temporary basis, the acting mayor, effectively, would, the moment a mayor is elected, revert back to the presidency of the body.
But if they were in succession to become the mayor and said, I don't want it, and then the vice chair...
You make the decision before you do it. If you basically say, if you don't want to be mayor, you have to do a flip with the vice chair.
I see.
You get elected vice chair, the vice chair gets elected chair, and then you succeed the vice chair back into your old job.
Okay.
So I did allow for that if we had that circumstance. And look, he might not even want to be acting mayor, because acting mayor is a full-time job.
Does it make sense to have provisions for a special election if we can't get anyone to serve as mayor?
The problem with a special election, we ran into this in Hamden. If you don't, if you wait for the cycle. Now, what you could do is we could take a look at the election calendar, and not necessarily in Middletown, the special election is tied to the municipal election year. What we could do is, if the vacancy occurs in the first year of office, you're in a state or federal election year, then the special election would take place that November, regardless of whether it's a state election or a municipal election. Right. So if I'll call the Secretary of State's office, find out what the time frame is, then we could tie it to that time frame, so that if the vacancy occurs before the deadlines begin for seeking office in the general election, then we'll just tie it to that. And so it would be in the November of the state or federal year if it happens in the first year with time. But if it doesn't, you're mayor for a year and a half. You're going to be mayor until the municipal election year, where you can then elect the mayor for the remainder of the term. Now, if you're in a second term, it's kind of goofy and complicated, because if you're in a second term, do you really want to elect a mayor for 6 months? Let's say the election occurs, the vacancy occurs in January of the election year. Do you want to have a special election, or do you want to have? It makes no sense to have an election that November if that's the end of the term anyhow.
Correct.
Where everybody's running for the new term.
But if it's early in the term of a 4-year term,
correct.
I understand how, you say that people who run for council have to realize they may be in line for succession, but that's never happened in West Haven, and I doubt anybody would ever think that it would happen. But it may happen.
I was pro tempore in New Haven. I was never mayor, I've seen it twice though. two of my clients, Hampton and Hamden, when Scott Jackson went to work for OPM and Jim Pasquarella acted as mayor. We had to go to the legislature. The mayor might have been in your mayor might have been in the legislature when we had to do this. We had to get some special legislation because of the timing issues in our charter. And then they elected a new mayor, and Jim went back as president because he was only the acting mayor. As I said, in Middletown, Gina Serra was the acting mayor, chose to run in the election. The special election was in the general election that November, and he's been elected to finish the term of the 4-year term for the prior mayor.
Oh, they have a 4-year term in
They
Middletown.
had a 4-year term in Middletown.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Well, so we'll have a couple options.
We'll have those options next
Thank
week,
you.
and those are that's the reason why that's been held up.
Can I ask you a question?
Simplification.
Of course.
Simplification should be this one succeeds this one succeeds this one, and that one, so down the line. So it doesn't get totally confusing for the general public.
I'll do my best. I'm just a simple country lawyer, so I'll do my best to live up to my reputation.
Question for Ron as liaison. That was something that was brought as a question in city council as well, wasn't it? What's to happen if?
Yeah, and I think it worked out. It probably would work out itself because I think what the chairman was looking for is that if the chairman's not available for the meeting, the majority leader would run the meeting. But I think if we had a chairman and a vice chairman, that would take care of the issue. If the chairman's not available, the vice chair would cover the meeting. So I think that was the chairman's request, that they have a line of succession on who run. Right now, the council votes on who's going to run the meeting. So I think the chairman wanted to change that to have a line of succession for running a meeting.
And that we have. That will be in the language very clearly, regardless of how we go with it. Because having a situation, if you think it's chaotic with a succession, if you don't have the successor to the president or the chair, that becomes a very vicious backroom kind of scenario. So the next item is action item number 3. I think the Corp Council passed it around to you. There are 2 minor changes. You'll note that not every section in the charter section is here. The charter, the chapter is here because there's no changes in them. So I did not. Yes, Madam Vice Chair. Oh, you don't have 3? It's 1 page.
Is that
Just 1
the
page.
original 3?
Yeah, you don't worry about a replacement because Attorney Bennick's going to direct our
Okay.
attention where necessary.
right.
So in chapter 3, this is the mayor's chapter. We moved the vacancy language, as you can see, which is in section 2 to chapter 2, section 6, which you'll see next on Thursday. In 3B, powers and duties 1, we're going to, I will recommend that when you move the question, that you move it with the following amendment, that in lieu of the language, except a member of the classified service, which is in the current charter, that we replace that unless otherwise set forth by a collective bargaining agreement. So the mayor has the ability to remove for cause employees, officers appointed by the mayor, unless otherwise set forth in a collective bargaining agreement. And that's that language. The other thing is that in the current charter, there's a section called Chapter 3, Section 5. It's the section that, if you look at the charter I had out last week, transmittal of summary annual report to the council and taxpayers within 3 months after the end of the fiscal year. The mayor shall have a summary of reports prepared for the distribution of the council and taxpayers for public inspections at reasonable times. The mayor shall include the most recent audited general fund balance sheet and statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances, which is available at the time the report is prepared. That's an old provision in your charter. It comes at the time that the audit does come out, and basically it is an equivalent to the audit. And so after discussion with the mayor and others, was determined that we would recommend the repeal of that section. So that would not be in the new charter. There's really not a need. The city, to my understanding, has not actually done that in many, many years. And so it didn't make sense to continue a practice that is not a practice. And so that language will be coming out of the charter. Otherwise, those are the only change is that parenthetical in B1.
Okay. We on to number 4?
Does somebody want to move it?
No?
I
Yes.
make a motion to accept action item 3.
Second.
We have a motion by member Hosky and a second by member Mancini. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. So,
The next action item is action item number 4. I believe the Corp Council's handed that out regarding the City Council. You do not have that one.
Chapter 4,
Oops.
addressing recommendations 5, 8, 11, 13, and 22. Anybody else missing 4?
So again, there will be another amendment in this one in section 1A, composition of the council. Remember I told you a line inadvertently was not transferred from the old charter to the reorganized charter relating to the at-large. We're going to make a reference in this section that there shall be a city council consisting of 13 members as set forth in chapter 2 above, including reference to minority party representation. So that will be added language that you will see if you approve this section. This is the section, as Councilmember Quagliani was pointing out, we tried to accommodate the issue of having a chair pro tempore to act in the stead of the chair if the chair is not available. And that's fundamentally what it means. And I say this as a former pro tem, that I had nothing to do as pro tem except based on my relationship with the president. I had a good relationship, so I was part of everything that I'd like to be part of. My real source of authority was being chairman of the budget committee, the finance committee. And so that's why people had to pay attention to me, not because I was the pro tem. But it's really a temporary thing. You want to have them know what's going on and ready to run a meeting if they have to run a meeting, but there's no other function related to it. And so that's the major thing there. The other thing that I wanted to point out in that section is on the next page, section 3C. You'll see underscored as you know, the mayor and the department heads have put in requests relating to the health department and regionalization and some of those issues. This language is underscored. The mayor and the council shall take into cognizance opportunities to engage in regional initiatives in order to provide the most efficient delivery of services to the city. In this context, the city should utilize all laws pertaining to regionalism, interlocal agreements, and cooperative arrangements. The idea is to have the general authority in the charter to allow the mayor, if they want to go into a health district or some other form of cooperative service. There's a number of laws now that have COGS, councils of government, taking up government responsibilities. You could choose to have tax collection. You could choose to have assessment. I'm not saying any of those things are going to occur in West Haven, but this provision allows you to do that. So that's item number 4, as the Corp Council indicated, that deals with recommendations sections 5, 8, 11, 13, and 22.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
In section, it's number 1 under C for election of the chair.
Yep.
It's a minor thing, but I'm just curious as to whether or not we should change this. We refer to the president, but we don't refer to president anywhere else. So should that?
Oh, my goodness.
consistency be
Serve as chair.
Yeah.
That's a typo.
So there are two.
Yes,
yeah.
I got it. I just saw it. Thank you.
Yep.
That's just because most municipalities.
Call their
president.
presiding officer president, yeah. And that's because I'm an elderly person and I missed it. No.
To a more substantive point, you and I have discussed the regionalization, the health director, the ability to engage other municipalities. The language that Attorney Bendick is inserting here, coupled with that which already exists in connection with state law, means that by simple ordinance, West Haven could engage, connect itself to, even form its own, and lead a regional health director, for instance.
Okay, very good. So when ready, I'll entertain a motion for action item 4. Got a motion by Member Gilbert,
Second.
second by Member Garlock. Any discussion? Oh, yes, sure.
So, 3F, approval of contracts. So that's new language?
Yes.
So I don't know if the mayor, I mean, so that, the way that language reads is that every single contract would have to come in front of the city council, which,
No, it's only if it's in excess of line of the authority that would require transfer, additional appropriation, or being a multi-year contract. And the definition of multi-year contract, remember we talked about this a few minutes ago, permits you to adopt an ordinance, which you have done already, that allows for the 3 years. So the multi-year doesn't come into effect, but it would have impact if you have to do a transfer.
I'm just looking at the first sentence. It says, said council shall review and approve all contracts.
Well, that's not the end of the sentence. You got to keep reading.
You gotta keep reading.
Including agreements to settle lit against the city or those memoranda of agreement with collective bargaining units that are in excess of line item authority, thereby requiring transfer or additional appropriation of funds or multi-year contract pursuant to ordinance. So that last clause, pursuant to ordinance, is really what carries the day. You have the ordinance now that says
3 years.
$50,000 needs to go out to bid,
Right.
longer than 3 years needs to come before council.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Action item number 5 deals with all the other elected officials. This is where you'll see no changes except there's going to be one, again, a typo change. In the registrar of voters section, we will say that the appointment of deputies and assistant registrars, and then the first sentence will see the registrars of voters shall appoint deputies and assistant registrars as provided in the general statutes. That language is identical to the current language, except we made it gender neutral by putting in the registrars of voters as opposed to a pronoun that existed exists in the current document. The Board of Education, there's no changes there, except the chair. Remember, chair is now a defined term, but that's it. So that this implicates only, actually, number 5. Number 5 is recommending changing chairman to chair. That's the only significant change in this section.
I make a motion to accept action number 5.
Second.
We have a motion by Member Hosky and a second by Member Perry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Action item 6.
Okay. Let me just look at my notes here. Action item number 6, there's a typo. This one, again, deals with recommendation number 22, which is... which is recommendations relating to the general provisions of boards and commissions. And all of this stuff that's in shadow is new language that basically says a lot of things that are pretty obvious, but it says them in a way that will make sure that they're consistent with every board and commission in town in terms of what, in the city, what boards and commissions are permitted to do. There is, in Roman numeral 3, the change was made. I see the Corp Council cleaned that up. There was a reference to a section that didn't exist, and I think we got rid of the clerk as well. So it's basically, it includes the NPR standard, no compensation, basically says these are what things all boards and commissions shall do, the things that are set forth in this section.
I'd like to ask a question.
Of course.
So CDA? Yeah. We have advisory boards. Where does the... I think it's only one. I think there's only one. Well, I don't know. Right. There might only be one, the CDA. So the charter doesn't speak to that. And I know the CDA doesn't have a chair or anything, but they have what we'd consider an advisory board. Yes? And I'll tell you that it kind of, I'm going to say it, doesn't really sit well with me that it isn't treated like a board. Like there should be a chair, and I don't know, in my professional opinion, but the charter doesn't speak to it at all.
I'll defer to the mayor, and then I'll talk about the definitions we just approved tonight.
So, so I understand what you're saying. I think CDA's advisory board falls under HUD. So I think we should just check whether HUD defines how that is created.
Right, because I know we have a difference of opinion, but they vote on the budget. So they right. So I guess it's kind of like the whole library thing. Can we just make sure that
let's double check CDA, and if the advisory board is defined by HUD, housing, Federal Housing Authority, that says you may have an advisory board that does this, this, and this, and if it doesn't, we should put some framework around it.
And there is only one.
We only have one advisory board?
There's only one that I could think of at the moment.
We can, a very simple remedy, either the Corp Council or I will take a look at that, but we have the definition of board or commission includes board, commission, task force, study group, committee, or similar body of the city. I would say we could add advisory group to that, or it just falls into the similar body of the city. So that the idea of having the definition of board or commission was to embrace those types of entities. So a study group or an advisory group would be covered, but let's see what we find out. We can make a very simple amendment on Thursday to throw an advisory group into the definition of board or commission.
Okay.
All right? Does that answer your question?
Mine, but she's...
I have a question.
Oops. Okay.
Is there going to be anything for boards, commissions, advisory boards for attendance? Or if you're volunteering your time and you want to be a citizen, or you're a citizen of West Haven, shouldn't you be actively participating where you should be there in person, majority of it?
We have language, won't be here tonight. I've drafted some language. I'm going to look at it again before Thursday that talks about the frequency of regular meetings and also attendance obligations. One of the things that we're going to be looking at are provisions for the removal of board and commission members. The easiest ground for removal is that you moved out of town. You don't live in the city any longer. We could talk about the issue of attendance. I have different standards and different charters. If you miss, you have 3 unexcused absences from a meeting sequentially. For example, you don't come to 3 months of meetings unless you have a good reason or you are excused, it would be grounds for removal. So you can do things like that if you want to do things like that. It's a slippery slope because if somebody is sick and they've been on a commission for years and have provided good service, do you really want to make it automatic? I think any of these things should be discretionary and let to somebody to make a decision. But attendance is something that's important. An issue that has not been addressed by any of the charters I've dealt with, although it's been discussed, is in the new era. We're looking right up there behind the chair. We're on online, and it's something that disturbs me and as a person who attends meetings, and I do a lot of meetings in the off season when I'm in Florida by Zoom. But I guarantee you'll always see me because I think that it's important that if I'm participating in the meeting, that you're able to see me. And I've been to a lot of meetings where elected members of the body, I don't know if they're watching Rachel Maddow or whatever they're doing, but their faces are not seen during meetings. And then when it comes time for a vote, there's always a lag. And I just think if you're elected or appointed to serve on a board or commission, members of the public have a right to see that you're paying attention to what's going on at the meeting and not rely on faith. I've not put any provisions like that in a charter, but it's an issue that has come up, and I think at some point it will be an issue that will be addressed.
Well, the definition of residency is defined by where you vote. Like, what is the definition of a resident?
I think the definition you just gave is elector.
It's elector.
Oh, I'm just being, I don't know what it is. If I right. So what, so if you, so that's what we're saying is.
Elector is where you're registered to vote, yeah.
So if you're living in West Haven and you're serving on a commission and you move to Milford, you're no longer an elector or resident of the community. Now, I will tell you something.
But if you split your time 6 months here and 6 months in Alaska, like what is?
Well, there's a 6-month rule, but if you are registered to vote in West Haven and you live in Florida or Alaska, God forbid, for the winter, I guess that's when you go to Alaska, and there's the 6-month tax rules. There's all those little tax loopholes where you need to be in the state. I think as a matter of law, if you're still an elector registered here and you vote here and vote here alone, I think you're still considered to be an elector. And that's why residency is one standard. The other thing you may consider is an attendance standard as well. But if they're a conscientious member and they're sitting up in Anchorage on a Zoom call and they attend all their meetings dutifully, and you could see their pretty faces, then there's not much you can do about it.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Can't any board, commission, whatever, set their own attendance standards?
We could establish that as a standard here. Hold on a second. Do I have that in here? Yeah, you can establish mandatory attendance requirements. That's in the language that we have here.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be by charter.
Does not have, well, the charter gives you the authority to do it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Can I weigh in on that for a moment?
Oh, Mayor.
Yeah, no. So you might have just said this. I wasn't paying attention. Do we want to define residency in the definitions?
Well, we define elector.
Okay.
So
But are they different? So if you're on a
there are
board and
different- there's
commission,
the standard really to be on a commission is to be an elector of the community. We sometimes put relaxed provisions if you have youth members of your boards or commissions. They can't be or unless they're 18. If they're under 18, they can't be an elector. And so we do allow for residency for non-voting age people. But the standard that we use for service is electoral status.
okay. So when we do boards and did you do boards and
That's what we're doing right
commissions?
now.
Oh,
Right now.
that's why we're talking about it. Okay. So we should say elector unless stated elsewhere. So for example, the Energy Commission, we might want somebody from UI or Eversource to be a representative. Sometimes we want subject matter experts on a particular board or commission. So we'll say unless otherwise prescribed by ordinance. Something like that is my 2 cents.
Thank you, Mayor.
It was worth at least a dime.
We have had that conversation in the past too, when we first dealt with what qualifications might be.
That's a good idea. So we'll add a qualification in the section on boards and commissions. I thought it was here, but it's not, that there's an electoral requirement unless otherwise set forth by ordinance.
Might I ask another, I won't gonna ask, I don't know why I'm asking permission. Number 3, quorum is as defined.
I left it, yeah, as defined in the definition in chapter 1.
Okay, so is it gonna say that?
Yes, I'll do it right
I'm
now.
just.
Yeah, we'll fix it. Yeah, we'll fix it.
Just as a point of information, when I was when we were talking about residency for car taxes, it used to be 6 months and 1 day.
Yeah.
How does that take any play in that? Just a question.
Well, I kind of alluded to that. One of the problems is I think the elector statute in Connecticut doesn't have a time frame. So that if you're registered to vote in the community and you're eligible to vote in the community because you have a place to be, then I think you can be an elector. God forbid you should vote in Florida as well. Well, you can try.
I'm going to request we skip 7 for now.
Well, they need to.
Oh,
move
yeah,
the
good point.
I make a
My
motion
mistake.
to, for action item 6 for approval?
Approval
Second.
with some corrections that have, were there a couple of corrections that have to be made?
Yes, we're going to clean up the quorum, add the quorum language. We're going to have the language regarding an elector requirement unless otherwise set forth by ordinance.
Okay, so we can make the motion
Embracing those ideas.
to include corrections as discussed.
As discussed, yes.
Thank you. Second
Second.
by Perry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
And as the CC was about to tell you, the Corporation Council was about to tell you, we're making some changes in Chapter 7, action item number 7, so we will defer action and discussion on that until Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
We just did 6.
We just did 6.
That was 6 that you just voted on.
I thought I turned the page and it's still the same number. So confused.
A larger point, you'll see in action item 5, as set forth in blank above, the conversation found itself there again in action item 6, quorum as defined in blank. You may see those as we go through this process. That's because we don't know what the blank is. A, you may need to vote on it still. B, it may be in part of a reordered section, and so putting it in there now may be amended again. So that blank is a placeholder.
I think that's it.
I've got 2 more.
Oh, you have 2 more at the end.
Yeah.
I'll defer to the
We're calling them 9 and 10. These are one easy discussion point that really was around language. Action item 9 deals with Chapter 12. This was recommendation 10 in the spreadsheet. If you don't have 9, I can pass around another, although I think everybody's got everything at this point.
It was at the end of.
I got 2 10s.
This is human services. So with an amendment that the position in the department will be health and human resources, or human services rather. Chapter 12 will read health and human services. Part A, there are 3 substantive changes, resources changes to services. The request from this body had been recommend what elderly services might be changed to. The placeholder there right now is senior services. If there are alternatives, that's fine. And we have stricken adult daycare centers, and so it will just read child daycare centers. We can strike them all then.
Child and adult daycare
Had said
centers
child and adult daycare centers.
are out, is out.
typographical in section 2, commissioner shall be paid a salary rather than shall be paid salaries.
The, when we say youth services, Mayor Board, are we talking like Park and Rec, the new Malloy School, whatever that would,
Yes.
what is?
Yes,
gonna be
so
that?
that's just the facility where Youth and Family Services and Elderly Services, Youth and Family Services, Elderly Services, Veterans, and PD, and it's going to be a swing space for the community.
Right, but when we say youth services,
That's Diane Dietman's area. So Park Rec, so
Right.
under John Carano,
right,
Health and Human Services, we kind of grouped everything that is kind of like community outreaching. So he oversees Youth and Family Services, Elderly Services, Park and Rec, CDA. I'm missing something. Elderly Family, CDA, and Health. Yeah. Yeah, all of those departments because they're community facing. Does that answer your question?
yes, that's what I thought youth services was, but, yep.
They're separate, yeah. Park Rec is Mark Payne, Youth Services, Diane Dietman.
So it's health, recreation, senior services, youth services. So there's only 4 here, and you said 5.
CDA.
Okay, should we put that there though? Or is it there and I missed it? I'm sorry.
So I think, again, we got to check HUD. Remember, Mark Bisacchia was the head of CDA, and then when he retired, rather than rehire his position because we didn't have to, I just have John has oversight over it. But I don't know if technically in HUD he just has oversight. But I don't know. I don't know if he should. But there was no other place to put the department.
No, I understand. I was just wondering because it said following departments and it just wasn't listed.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if it needed to be. That's all.
Yeah.
So should we look into that or?
Yeah, we can do that.
So do we want to hold off on 9 or did I make it complicated?
You didn't make it complicated. In fact, we can have conversation about more of it if anybody wants to.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
You can always, yeah, you can approve it subject to amendment. You can always hold it over and have it due Thursday. The next change is only at the bottom under 3, the senior services powers and duties had in your charter another section 3 below that lists again, Director of Human Services shall be responsible for the efficiency of following departments. It's duplicative, so we don't need any duplications. That addresses the department inquiry into how to reword and reorder that department. So if there are any questions about those, we can do that.
Can I ask a question in A1? What are we deleting from A1?
Child and adult daycare is deleted.
Okay,
Elderly needs to be changed. The recommendation was senior, although
got it. That's already there. Okay. All right. So it was the child and adult daycare has to come out.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I make a motion to approve action item 9 with the aforementioned changes.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Garlock. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
okay, final item is dealing with Chapter 13 under Public Safety. Part A is police, Part B is fire, Part C, Organization for Civil Preparedness. It had previously been constituted under a 1958 statute that has since been repealed. Mr. Fontana has come up with replacement language that will update the references to statutes And so what's stricken will be removed and replaced with what you see there.
So he mentioned the other day, Mayor, that he thought civil preparedness was going to be taken out of this.
That's actual language. Yeah, civil preparedness is part of the language in the state general statutes.
Okay. All right.
And the rest of the changes that he recommended when he spoke before you can be taken up by ordinance.
Thank you. So I'll entertain a motion.
I'd to make a motion to approve action item 10.
Well, Art will make you the second.
Second, sure, that's fine.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Attorney Cassini and Mednick, anything else from your end?
With that, I will update that ongoing chart that is kind of our to-do list, and we'll be reconvening on Thursday to take up additional items, those that we tabled tonight, but then others as well.
Okay. Thank you. And let's see. And come Thursday, we'll figure out whether we need Tuesday's meeting on the 12th or not.
Okay, you've got those booked just in case.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I don't remember where the 12th would be located, but we'll figure it out. It's either got to be here or here north for the recording.
It was noticed for this room, right?
It might have been.
Most likely.
I just don't remember. Okay. All right. Now, we've established May 21st as a meeting for the public input. We're going to approve our draft May 14th and then have the public input May 21st. My question would be, I assume we're going to put our draft on the city website?
Yes.
Okay. For anyone to look at, that will be publicized.
Yes, I think we can also have a physical copy available in the clerk's office if anybody wants to come by and peruse.
Okay. Yes?
Are we going to market it in any other way? Robocall, announcement on the city website, any other type of, I love it, robocall. I don't, well, how would we get public input if they don't know it's there?
When you mean it, you don't mean the draft, you mean the public hearing.
Yes. And, well, if we are going to put you, didn't you say about putting the draft up on the city's website?
Website, yes.
Right. So how would we, and I could be completely off, but how would we get the public's input about our ideas if they don't know where to go to?
I would think that press release,
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, oh, how are
press
we
release in the
marketing it?
Register and the Voice.
Question is, for them to show up on the 21st with anything, how would they have known that there's something to look at in
Correct.
advance?
Yes.
And not everyone, you know. I don't want to cost the city money, but I'm assuming we probably have a system that we spot.
I don't know about Robo. We try to do that for emergencies, but Yeah, we'll put it on the website. We could put it on social media. We could put it in the New Haven Register. We'll just send our regular media list out, and whoever picks it up, right?
And
Or-
we can also put something out early where we can say the 14th, we're going to have a draft, and the 21st, that draft will be available on the city website as of this date for the public input on May 21st.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be preparing, at the chair's request, a list of the items that are included in the draft.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
While we have some time, let's go through the rest of the calendar.
Yep.
You've started us off already, Chair. May 14, your draft. May 21st, the public hearing. We've got, obviously, before that, the 7th for another meeting, the 12th for a meeting as required. Attorney Mender, can you walk us through the rest of the timeline? I know our report is due on the 29th. We've got a final meeting after the public hearing on the day before that, the 28th. What happens after this body turns their report to the city council?
Thank you. So when this goes to the city council, and we probably should have a meeting, we got the council representative here, we should probably have a meeting sooner than later with the council chair and see what dates they will want to have meetings. But I would recommend that they have a meeting very soon thereafter. The moment we transfer the document to the town and city clerk's office, the clock begins to run at the city council. Just to remind you all, the city,
The 30-day clock.
it's a 45-day clock.
45.
It's up to 60 actually. The 30-day, I'll tell you about the 30 in a minute. So what happens is the clock begins to run. They have a meeting. You, Mr. Chair, and other members of the body who want to be in attendance will present the document to them. We'll walk through it. I'll be there with you. I'm sure the Corp Council will be there with you, and we'll walk the council through the document, answer any questions they might have. And then it's up to them to decide how many meetings they want to have. Do they want to break it down by chapter? Do they want to break it by subject matter area? That'll be up to them. But we should probably have a sit down with them and try to get an understanding of how that's going to work. So my hope would be that sometime during the month of June, that will be done with them. They technically have up to 45 days before they have to have their public hearing, 45 days from the day we give it to the town and city clerk. That would take us into July. And I talked about this when we first started the process, talked to the chair and talked to the council. So I don't think that they're going to need the full, and then they have up to 15 days after that. So if they use 60 days, we're going to be very deep into July, August, and really have to rush it at the end. My hope is that sometime in June we'll have this document through the council. They'll have their public hearing. They have to have a public hearing. And then they get it to you. Or they accept it. I think that there will be things they're going to look at. They're going to want to get back to you. And what they do is they have an ability to ask you or to make recommendations. And then that starts the 30-day clock. When they send it back to you, we have a conferral meeting, and then you have up to 30 days to deal only with their recommendations. If John F. Kennedy came back from the dead and told us the greatest idea of what to do with West Haven, we could not take his advice during that period of time. We can only take the advice of the council and the recommendations they've made. Then you have up to 30 days. Again, depending on where we are in the clock in the month of July, when this room will probably be very warm, we will then report back to them and give them our final report. During that period of time, I encourage the council to be at your meetings, to work with us in kind of a mediated environment where they'll be sitting here, we'll be sitting there, and we'll be going back and forth to see if we can come up with language. If there's any complicated recommendations, I don't know if I can possibly anticipate that. And then we send the final recommendations back to them. The hope would be that we have accomplished everything they've asked us to do, unless they've asked us to do something this majority of this body is not in favor of, and then you have to live with the consequences of that when you send it back to them. It goes back to them. They have up to 15 days at that point to approve, disapprove in whole or in part. And then once they approve it, assuming they approve parts of it, if not all of it, they then have to come up with the questions for the ballot. That has to be done by the end of August because it has to be in the Secretary of State's office first week in September. They'll authorize usually me to write an explanatory text for the town clerk. I'll sit with the town and city clerk and the corporation council. The corp council has to sign off on it because the explanatory text will be very similar to the document that I've told you I was going to do, where you just lay everything out, but it's objective. It's not going to say the 4-year term is wonderful. Right. So there will be a 4-year term. And so that's the time frame. That's where we are. So goes to them on the 29th, which is John F. Kennedy's birthday, by the way. It goes to them on the 29th of May. They have it pretty much for the month of June. The hope would be by the end of June or around July 4th, they'd get it back to us, back to this commission. And then you have up to 30 days. You probably use 2 weeks. I don't think I've ever had a commission go the full 30 days. Even in Stanford, where they had a huge number.
So do we have the ability to not accept the recommendations if we don't like
Well, it's not a function of, yes, you have the ability to reject their recommendations. You have the ability to say we don't like them. And depending on the magnitude of it, and the seriousness of it, they could come back when you send the final report and say, well, you didn't like ours, we don't like yours, we're rejecting the whole thing.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we
I don't
get to
anticipate that. I'm just
I don't
wondering.
anticipate it, but you have the ability. That's the idea. I'm just writing a presentation for Thursday night. Where I won't be here. I'll be in Weston. And we had a member of our commission in Weston resign because he felt that he had not been taken seriously. And I did an analysis and found that of the 14 amendments that we made to the charter, 12 of them were made by him. But he wanted one big one. And as the mayor's equivalent down in that town once said, I can't believe this guy wanted to die on a hill over the order of the table of contents. So that's what it came down to. But I'm writing a report on independence because he argued that, well, therefore that commission was not independent. And what I always say is you're very independent. At the same time, you are created by the council and you have to report to the council, and the council will make the decision about whether your work goes on the ballot. So, if there are important issues that you have a difference of opinion where you're going to try to persuade them that you're right and that they're wrong, by all means, stick with it. But my general advice in charter revision process is let's mediate it and let's get it worked out so that we end up with a good document in the end.
Right. Okay.
Art, can I
Mayor,
ask you a
yes.
question? Yeah.
Sure.
So Steve, I just want to clarify. So if the council, if the Charter Revision Commission rejects items from the council and it goes back to the council, you said they could approve it as a whole or in part. What did that mean? I thought they have to approve the whole thing up or the whole thing down.
Sorry. Let's use your list, for example. So item number 1 is a 4-year term for mayor. Item number 2 is a 2-year term for the council. Get rid of the tax collector and treasurer's elected officials. Let's look at those 4. Let's say they decide we want to keep, if you're not going to give us a 4-year term on the council, the mayor's not getting a 4-year term. And frankly, tax collector is my friend. I want that tax collector to stay in an elected position. So they can reject all those and accept everything else. So they can accept things in whole or in part, reject them in whole and in part, so that just because they reject the 4-year term doesn't mean that they haven't accepted your contract language. And then that's what you end up with. So you can end up with a 2-year term for mayor, but you have everything else in your package.
So they can choose a la carte.
They can choose a la carte. They can't amend. They can't change anything. That's why it's really important in that last go-around that they be at the meetings so that we sit there, and I'm sure the Corp Council, myself, we will sit there, the mayor, we will sit there and we'll try to hone out language. If there are differences of opinion, we will sit, and I personally believe this is the best way to do it, and try to resolve it. So we don't end up in a situation where they're going a la carte. We want them to buy the ranch.
Yes.
Not just the barn, the whole ranch. Okay?
Thank you.
Answer your question? Okay.
A little confused, but it'll all sort out. Okay.
Okay, anything else to come before this commission tonight? No, we don't have to vote. No, just establish them.
Meeting schedule's already set.
Well, when we set the dates, we didn't have to vote on it. All we did have to do was,
Thursday meeting's already noticed, scheduled at 7 p.m. What we had prescribed was, since the notices went out for 7 p.m. even on Tuesdays, to then notice a separate special meeting at 6 o'clock that then would technically adjourn and we would reconvene at 7, but that's not exactly how things went for today.
To approve the additional special meetings, there's no harm in doing that. Do you think, Stacy, that you feel comfortable with them doing that? I would rather have them do that. If the clerk is looking for that assistance and comfort, I would recommend that you approve them by,
okay.
I wasn't aware of that happening because of the non-recording of the meeting
Yeah.
on the 23rd and the non-filing of the agenda
Correct.
on the 30th.
yeah. So I don't think there's any harm in making a motion for all your special meetings and to make motions to have special meetings before the or already approved 7 o'clock meetings.
So can I get a motion to approve our meeting dates as established, whether it be special or regular, for May 7th, 12th, 14th, 21st, and 28th? Well, I think, what did we notice Thursday's meeting at?
Thursdays are scheduled for 7.
So we noticed that one at 6.
Yeah, we noticed it at 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's the 6 to 7 special meeting and the regularly scheduled, previously approved meeting at 7?
We just noticed it at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you had all scheduled every Thursday at the beginning when we got started.
Well,
No, we only did up to April.
no, but we did talk about the dates of May, the Thursdays of May. We established Thursday as a regular meeting day.
I see.
Just for the record, for the clerk, for all of us, the actual dates of these remaining meetings, one last time, please.
May 7th, Thursday, May 7th,
At 6.
6 o'clock. Tuesday, May 12th at 6 o'clock. Thursday, May 14th. Make it at 6.
Yep. And that's where we're going to vote out the
Yes.
document. Okay.
May 21st,
Public hearing.
public hearing,
6 o'clock.
Also 6 p.m.?
also 6 p.m. No, we didn't, I don't remember talking about May 19th.
If your initial draft is the 14th, there's no real reason for you to meet on the 19th because the public hearing is when you'll
Following week, yeah.
take the input of the public.
So can I just ask, if we're done, why would we cancel Tuesday's meeting to hold it until Thursday? Why wouldn't we just come in on the 12th and if possible, vote on the 12th to pass it and cancel Thursday?
That's fine. You could do that if you want.
Are you or is everyone available for Tuesday, the 12th? Attorney Mednick, Cassini?
Do you want to make
Yes.
a vote on that before the public hearing?
Well, we have to vote on it before the public hearing. We have to approve the draft.
Yes.
So I guess the question is, are you going to have the draft ready for May 12th instead of May 14th?
That's the real question.
I think that's going to be pushing it, but we can, if I can get it done, we'll get it done.
Well, one of the ways I looked at it is after Thursday, we could decide whether we need Tuesday,
After the 7th, decide if we need the 12th.
12th, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather give them time to get the draft done for the 14th. Okay, and then the 21st, Thursday, May 28th.
Now, I also had
6 o'clock.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I also had the 26th in my calendar, and I know there was discussion about it being too close to the holiday. So is that not?
There was discussion on it, but based on the last two meetings, I don't feel we need to schedule the 26th.
Okay.
So the 21st is the public hearing, then when's our final meeting?
28th.
And then we'll have to establish the next meeting when the council sends their recommendations back to us.
After the 29th, when you deliver your report, your schedule is sort of out of your hands for a
Yes.
little while.
Right.
Perhaps Mr. Quagliani, as our liaison, would give us some insight as to if council has had discussion around how much of that 30, 45, 60-day period they intend to take. I understand they haven't seen the report yet, so it's difficult for them to know.
They're aware, based on my emails to Chris Vargo, of what's been approved so far, correct?
Yes, I mean, every council meeting, I update them
Okay.
as to the action that this commission has taken. So I don't see it being a long process. I know that we won't look at it until after our budget is done, which is June the 4th.
Yep.
So, but I don't anticipate it being a lengthy process.
Okay. Thank you. So, can we have a motion for the meeting dates that I discussed? We have the motion by Art Gilbert,
Second.
second by Leilani Perry.
It was me.
That was my next guess. It was really
Yeah.
Gail Tag, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. So those meeting dates are approved.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So, Steve, help me again with the flow. So I was under the impression, because we did this, once before, whatever it was, 2020. At least I did personally, sitting on the other side. But the report came, the draft report came from the Charter Revision Commission to the City Council, and that's where they kind of did the diner menu on it. We like this, we're going to ask the Charter Revision if they could modify that. Could you add this? And then we had a joint meeting, and we worked it all. We worked it all out. But my impression was that after that's done and the council actually has to vote, that it's either up or down on the whole document. It's not pieces of it. So you're saying that even at the final vote, we could say we like items 1 through 8. We don't like 9. We like.
They've got to be severable. For example, I mean, the ones I use are the best example, the 4-year term. So it's not a 4-year term, it's a 2-year term. You have no other place to go.
Okay.
Those kinds of things. So they can make those decisions. They can't add anything. They can't amend anything. They can simply reject individual ideas.
Okay. It's good to know.
So their recommendations then is on what's given to them. You said they can't add anything?
Au contraire. They can add things. When we send this over to them on the 29th, they can make recommendations on our work. They can also add new things. If John F. Kennedy came back from the dead and talked to them, they can honor the
They
president's
could come
wishes.
back and say, we want the mayor to have a 6-year term.
Exactly,
Okay.
which is not legal in Connecticut, even if President Kennedy were to say that. But the point is, they still have flexibility to expand the menu.
Thank you. Question?
Me?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think originally when we got it, Councilman Quagliani, maybe it's because everything was intertwined so much that we couldn't piecemeal it, because if you took one thing out, it messed up the rest. I'm wondering if I'm thinking
That's why I said severable, because if it is interspersed, it's very difficult to break it up.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
what happened.
Because the last charter revision, they were changing the whole form of government. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion Hosky, second Garleck. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. 7:33.
I already made it. Got a half an hour.
Yep. Right.